Hey everyone, Mherex here, bringing you another video. This one is going to be on the brand new Welcome to the Titan Takeover. So it's a new game mode, it's a career mode, and it's every day, except one day. I believe Saturdays is the days we won't have a Titan. 6 days for one for each class. So Titans don't just want to control, they want the spotlight. This is when you first go in. I'm not going to read all of it on this one. This first one isn't really super important, but here's starts to be some good information. Titans storm into the ring daily. They always come back for more. Each player fights the Titan in their own battles under last man standing rules. Knockout KO a Titan to unlock a higher tier. Tier unlocks are tied to the faction and stay with the faction. Every superstar has their own stamina, their fuel to fight. Running out of stamina means they're sidelined. But don't worry, superstars are recharged daily. Manage your roster wisely. We'll get into this more later. There's a new action bar. Now replaces the pin bar. This is on the bottom of the screen. I'm going to run a match for you guys too, or two or three. Swipes, moves, and props all cost one action. So we got to get out of the mindset of turns, and now it's actions instead of turns. When the bar's empty, your turn ends, then the Titan strikes back. Your damage against a Titan tier builds towards one of 4 reward grades. We'll get more into this. Minimum damage amount to qualify for a tier. Every attempt adds to your total damage dealt for that Titan tier. KO the Titan and all qualified players score a bonus reward. We'll definitely get more into this too, talking about the scoring and how you qualify and all that. Rewards are delivered to your mailbox at day's end. Everyone's damage contributes to the daily faction reward. All damage yields faction points, tallies into the point reward pool. Fighting higher Titan tiers provide larger point multipliers. As the pool grows, rewards level up for everyone. Contribution is ranked, and higher ranks take home a bigger piece of the pie. Do your part, contribute to qualify by day's end, and reap the rewards in your mailbox, so the rewards go to your mailbox, right? All right, so let's go in here. First of all, it's not readily apparent where it is. Most of us are new stuff are used to looking events tab, that sort of thing. You're going to click the career button, and it's right here on the top of career. You can see I have 2 of 3 energy. I didn't claim the free yet. I did 1 attack last night late. Excuse me. I'm just waking up, so a little bit froggy. So yeah, and there's the first week we get 2 bonus energy. That's to help factions unlock higher tiers of the boss. So you can see here we got day 1 Hogan, 2 Savage, 3 Austin, 4 Taker, 5 Cena, and 6 Roman Reigns. All right, so let's go in here and kind of take a look and see what we get at first. You can see my faction in particular. We've KO'd the tier 1 boss, for example. All right, and if you look at damage rewards, you need to do 10k to get to the bronze chest. That qualifies you for these rewards. Right? 20k for silver, 33k for gold, 50k for platinum. Now, to get these tiers, you have to actually do the damage in the match. You can see I've done 0 total damage. I haven't unlocked any chests on tier 1. Okay? Tier 2, the rewards get better. Right? But the damage requirement goes up. Not hard. Everyone should be able to do 625k damage. That's basically with a move on tier 2. Also, tier 1 to KO it. Boss has 1 million health. So 1 million health defeats boss 1. Anyone on your team can KO it. No bonus for who KOs it. That sort of thing. 63 people in our faction apparently have KO'd boss 1. 34 have KO'd boss 2. It's 15 million health, slightly better rewards. Tier 3 gets way more interesting. 400 million health to KO. Maybe this is tax. KO Titan during the Titan's bonus reward. Looks like 39 people have attacked, not KO'd. My Miss whatever there. And apparently that's after it's KO'd. You can see boss 4 is 500 billion health. We have no KOs yet, right? Tier 3, the rewards get better, as doing 20 million damage on the platinum chest gets you hype coins and Titan takeover coins, right? So it goes up every tier. And then tier 4, you can see if you need to do 1.35 million damage. This is the one attack I've done. I got 4.98 billion damage on this one attack. So I'm in the max tier for this. 3,000 hype coins, 15,000 Titan takeover, etc. Now, there is also right here daily faction rewards, right? You're 1% here. We're on tier 11. That's max. You need to get this score to max it. We've done that. So we get the max score on rank 11. You can see on rank 11, your rank within the faction point scoring. This part I dislike, but it is really relatively close, right? So it could be worse. Everyone gets the same amount of hype currency as far as the universal. So it's 5 universal or wild card powerhouse on powerhouse day. And then what ranks 1 through 10 get 25,000 Titan takeover coins, 11 through 40, 23. It's close enough that it's not a huge deal. As you go down in tiers, the rewards, you can see the Titan currency stays the same, but the wild card isn't as good on tier 10, tier 9, right? A little less Titan coins, still 4 wild cards. So you can, this is your faction bonus, right? So that's how you know what you're going to get from your faction portion, sort of thing. So there's that. And finally, why did this go to 410 after I clicked that? That's weird. Anyway, and then you get a KO bonus as a faction too somewhere. Where do I see that? We'll go in and we're going to run a few matches. So let's see somewhere. So this one you need hype level. So as you go up in tiers too, right? This is important. There's restrictions. So let's just go back to tier 1 and kind of go through this. No restriction on tier 1, right? It's pretty easy. 1 million health and then the boss goes away. So you can't do more than 1 million damage. So like it only takes one person to KO the first boss. Now, when you look at this, KO bonus reward, there it is. When your faction KOs a boss, you get 1,500 extra points there. Now, to qualify for the rewards, you have to do damage, though, right? You have to actually fight the boss. So I would get none of these rewards, right? With my energy. So you will have to decide where you're going to use your energy, both yourself and as a faction, right? So the other thing is, when Hogan comes around next week on Powerhouse Day, our faction will start on tier 4. I believe we might have to start on tier 3 because I think, well, we've unlocked tier 4. So I believe we start on tier 4. And so then we have to work to beat the boss on tier 4 to unlock tier 5. So my recommendation, and that's why we're getting the 2 extra energies to help unlock higher tiers. So at the start, really, it kind of depends on your faction, how you want to play it. You can see when you go into the faction rewards, right, in general, for the faction ranking part, when we were looking at that here. Oh, that's just rankings there. Where the heck was that thing? Where it shows the what you get for being in charge already, or being top of your faction. We already talked about that. That's in this one. There we go. There really isn't that big a difference in your score between first and 100th. 4,000 Titan takeover currency, and yeah, sure, that'll add up. It's something. I do like that in a way. It incentivizes you to try hard, do damage, blah 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 blah. But it's not the be all end all, right? For sure, getting higher tiers and doing the damage and KOing the bosses is probably better. Like, let's see, what's the KO bonus on this one? So KO bonus for tier 4 is 4,500. This more than makes up for the currency you'd get between being 100th and 1st, right? So KOing a boss is important for the Titan takeover. However, getting the chest damage is really important. Look at how many points you get for this. So I would say top priority once you unlock something would be getting the chest requirement, right? So let's say next week when Hogan rolls around, you notice, guys, the first three, or the first two don't have hype coins. Here on the third one, you start getting hype coins. It's more Titan takeover. So next week when we have 3 energy, assuming your faction can get to tier 5, it would kind of make sense to put 1 energy into tier 5, not worry as much about the KO, and get those tier 5 rewards. If you can get the bonus, right? And then go to tier 4, get the tier 4 bonus rewards, right? Can I not see what they are on tier 5 because it's not unlocked? Oh, that's lame. All right. Should be able to at least see it. I think that's lame. Anyway, and this is going to require hype 2 character to do tier 5 and technician, right? Tier 4 requires a technician in the first slot and hype 1. Second slot open. So yeah, I mean, like, so you're trying to strategize, right? Like, use your best damage person for the highest tier. In my case, I wasn't sure if we'd unlock tier 5. Also, I'm not sure right away. I think people were just kind of going in and doing their thing, so we didn't have a plan necessarily to try to beat this one. And also, I don't think we were sure your unlock would carry over and things like that to next week, right? So, but I think ideally in a perfect world, like if you're high-end farming, you're going to hit 1 here and get your chest. You're going to hit 1 here and get your chest. And you're going to hit 1 here and get your chest. If you can only unlock tier 4, I would do 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Except for, obviously it would benefit everyone in your faction to unlock tier 5 for the next week. So that would be like a decision for your faction leader, like, hey, we want to get tier 4 down and have tier 5 unlocked forever. Then you might use all of your attacks on tier 4 that week to clear this Titan and be good to go on the next one, right? So if you figure, right, you look at this boss, it's got 500 billion health. If you have 100 members, you each need to average 5 billion damage. You can see that's going to be really difficult because I basically averaged 5 billion damage on my one run, and that's on the higher end, right? So at least in my faction, I can't speak to other factions, and I'll show you what I mean. If you look at your rankings, you can see I'm 13th in points, only using 1 attack. So that 5 billion points is a big number, right? So it's gonna be very difficult for a faction to unlock this unless you have all 100 members attacking probably 2 to 3 times and you only get 3 energy, right? So this is very much super high end. I would say, like, maybe, I don't know how many factions will unlock tier 5. Like I said, you might have to work within a faction to really do it. I haven't like really sat down to think about who would be the best for this particular thing. I just did what seemed to make sense to my brain for the first one, and I got lucky and had a good score, right? So yeah, I think that's the best way to go about it. So let's just kind of recap a little bit before we go into a fight. So every day has one, right? Except for I think it's Saturday is the one that ends up not having one, and it's each class, and they repeat each week. And whatever you unlock, you start at next week as a faction, so you don't need to re-clear those low-level ones. Like, obviously, your tier 1 is not great, and if you have 3 energy, you want to do 1 fight on each to maximize your chest, but tier 1 only gets you 5,000, right? So ideally, in a perfect world, I think you'd have 4, 3, and 2 if you can't get to 5. Because the 2 is much better, 7,500 currency, right? And then if you when you get there, 5, 4, and 3 would be exceptionally good because you're getting hype currency as well on all of them. So that's the dream, but not necessarily realistic. We're a top 10 faction, and we're gonna have to like clearly strategize on people using 2 and 3 energy. Um, like I would say, you would 1% this type of thing. You try and get everyone in the faction to do 5 billion to take this down, right? If it takes you 2 attacks, 3 attacks, whatever, get your 5 billion in. We get this down. We never have to go through it again. Um, and then the unlock bonus for KOing him is not really that big of deal. Like when you look at the KO bonus, that I wouldn't particularly worry about KOing him after it's unlocked. And then you just go in and get your damage chest. That's how my brain says to do it. And I'm not sure that's right, right? Your faction may end up coming up with a different plan, and there's nothing wrong with that. So that's kind of all of that. Before we go into a match, let's check out the store. Specific hype in the store. Well, it takes 30,000 currency, so, it's probably you'll probably can get one of these a week, right? But there's only three options showing up. So I like the idea, the concept, but it's probably going to be a pain to get the hype you actually want, but it is a little better. These clearly the higher tiers are in the top 3 and they're more expensive. Lower tiers here, and they're less expensive and more hype shards, right? And then you get shards to unlock characters. You can see Jacob Fatu shards, this one, blah, 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 full characters, whatever. So you can get lesser characters. Johnny Gargano's in there, and Mosh, and then you get your shards here. I would certainly say to not focus on shards and focus on hype and save your currency for when it's important hype of superstars you use. Like nothing wrong with Solo or Bubba. They're both completely usable. So maybe you grab that. But having only 3 show up out of the 600 characters, although I don't know how many are S. This looks like it's S and S plus. And this looks like it's the rest of the pool. I could be wrong about that. That's just guessing. It's going to be very important, very valuable. But I wish there was more options in here than just potentially 6. So, because hype, anyway, it's fine. It's fine. It's more option to get hype, which makes me happy, right? Because we need more hype all the time. So in general, I actually really like this mode. I hope someday we can get a single player version of it. I don't like necessarily so much as tied to the faction, but I do like it's a daily thing I can do, get potentially hype currency. As long as you can do at least level 3, which I think most factions should be able to get to 3. 4 and stuff is where it gets harder. So you're going to want to be in a faction, though, where they're doing your Titan Daily. So now let's kind of go over what I did so far. I did 1 attack on here. 4 was unlocked when I got home. Yesterday was my anniversary. That's why I didn't post anything. We went out to dinner and had a great night and all of that. And I'm like, I'll just do 1 attack and then I'll make a video tomorrow morning, which is what I'm doing. So I used Ilya with a green Piper plate, and I used Dudinator for my 4.9. I think does it show here who I used? It doesn't, but that's who I used, and Ilya had the green Piper plate, etc. So that got that done. It does not, to me, look like we're going to get anywhere near beating this guy. We still need to do 300 billion. But so I'll definitely go in here and do a tier 3 attack. So what I would recommend is you start off with your weaker characters and then progress to your better characters. Keeping in mind you need like a hype technician on Powerhouse. I'm assuming it's going to work to the class wheel all the days. I don't know that for sure. That's an assumption. So like now I just want somebody, I would like to KO the boss, like one shot it and get my max damage. Right? So let's just get out of here. And who do I want to use? I haven't really, 400 million is not going to be hard to get. And I need a hype too if we get to 5. So let's leave Mercy alone for sure. Let's just use Yeet should have no issues. You can see they all have 1 stamina. That means you can use them 1 time, right? You can use them 1 time. That's why Ilya's not showing up here, is because I already used him once, and Dudenator I used once, right? I was messing around with Jay. He doesn't have my normal setup. I was trying something different. It's like, yeah, Jay should be able to solo the damage, no problem, without anything abnormal. Blue. Arbitrage. Sorry, I didn't really have this super setup ahead of time. I don't want black, I want blue. I won't worry about changing his strap or anything, it's fine. No eligible promoters. Okay, so interesting. That might have been fixed, because what was interesting was last night I had in for eligible, I swear I had my boss promoter showing up, which I thought was really weird. And they're not today. So that's fine. Which I did think was really weird. So that's good, I guess. Moments work and stuff too. So yeah, anyway, let's go in here. I'm not going to bother, like I said, upping the strap or anything like that. He should be able to clear it himself. Just in case, who's somebody I'm not going to care about. We'll just use Austin. Okay. Now, if you're not sure what the boss is going to do, there is also a list of what the boss is going to do, so you know what to expect, right? And I will show you what I mean. Once you're in here, if you click on this, it tells you the boss's phases. So phase 1, the boss Titan's turn is going to deal 750,000 damage, modify 25 random gems into blast gems. On the Titan's turn, on the second turn, it's going to do 750,000 damage, increase red gem damage by 500%, modify a random 3x3 area into red gems. And then on this turn, it's going to do 100 million damage for every turn that is passed, including the current turn. That's 300 million damage. So it's killing you on this turn. And then your superstar, your second superstar, can come in, and then this happens on phase 2, right? Where he's dealing more damage and more gems into blast, right? So he has the boss has different phases. Typically, based on his life, he drops onto another phase. Is how that works. So it'll list bonuses here, stats here, okay, right? All that jazz. So yeah, this is what to expect from the boss. So it's pretty straightforward. You can use props. I'm not gonna use them. I shouldn't need any with Jay. He recycles, so you might bring them if you wanted to. But it does count as an action, right? So there's no real way around that. And let's just get in here, right? Enough prep done. You can see we have first turn, so hype does apply. You definitely want to go first against the boss. Otherwise you lose a whole turn of damage. So right here on the bottom's your action bar. You get 5 actions. So we're just going to start, and we're going to hit our gem buff. That's 1. And then let's hit our move. That's 2. So we have 3 actions left on our turn. You can see Jay did like 150 million, right? Gems. Was that 3 million apiece? Is that what that says? You can see now I have 2 buffs. So 6 million apiece, so we should hit twice as hard this time. So that's my first turn. 273 million, we KO'd the boss on our first turn, right? So that's how that works. 451 total damage done. Faction reward points. Plus, I don't know, I got 3.24 billion points plus 7.68 million, whatever that means. We got the max chest, and we're done, right? We killed that boss. No problem. Now we can kind of go in, look at this, and see damage rewards. 20 million damage required. I did 451 million, and we unlock this max chest when it's done. Pretty straightforward, right? And then we can go back into the faction scoring part and see if that moved me up at all. So wherever that was, I got to remember. Go. It's this button. I seemingly moved down to 12th. Someone else must have done an attack and moved up, right? So, all right. Cool. Let's try and get this. I want to try and get this unlocked. I don't know that our faction has enough, but I should do it too as well. I don't care if I miss the level 1 chest, right? And I'll put my other 2 attacks in the top one. I think our faction wanted everyone to do all of the chests because I'm not sure. I think they're trying to figure out the best way of doing this, right? So, I don't know. This one's really easy. Like 15 million, you're going to win with most people. So you can kind of use whoever. But so I'll worry about that later. Let's go into let's do this just to show you guys more actions in effect. Let's use El Grande. I think he would be a pretty okay one, potentially. Might have to mess around with the strap. Rumble plates work and stuff in this mode, by the way. So if you have a red rumble for Grande, that would be good. I don't at the moment, so I will probably just use live strap, as I don't want to change a strap around right now and use plate swaps. So we'll just use live strap. We'll get some red out of it, I suppose. Better than none. And so there's 2 ways of doing this, right? I think for me, let's just get a double 1, 2. No, let's not. No, let's just start. Because we only get 5 per turn. So let's just set them up normal. Not try and do anything fancy. Red gems do 40% more. Steve, do I want to focus on the gems? He doesn't have a hardcore, right? He does. Yeah, I want to focus on the red gems because he does have a hardcore. Red Royal Rumble would do way better for him, right? If you wanted to do it and hit your max damage, Red Royal Rumble would definitely do way better for him. So let's run him there. That's good enough. Oh yeah, let me finish putting medals on, I suppose, too, huh? I wasn't really sure what I was going to do for this, by the way, guys, so I just figured I'd kind of jump in and cover what we know. I need a universal one. Let's use this one. This works. And just show you guys some of it in action. If this is a thing where I probably could maybe do some good characters to use on each rotations. If you have in the future, if that's something you guys want to see, let me know, because it doesn't look like the faction stuff. Like, I think sharing all this information, I don't think is a bad thing. Like, I think you should share within the faction, because we're not really factions competing against other factions. It doesn't look like. It's just kind of your faction doing their thing on a daily basis. So I think like sharing information on this, most people should be okay with that. In this one, we need a hype 1 now in the second slot, as well, but it can be any class. And let's just use, for giggles, let's use Haku, because he should hit very hard. Steve, I can put on 2 people, so we're good. Yeah, let's do that. I don't think... Yeah, I can do that. That works. All right. All right. Let's do this. Okay, so this will give you guys a better idea of the turn order and how it goes. Because he's not gonna get one shot, right? All right. We're gonna hit our buff. El Grande is slightly laggy on an emulator. 1.25, you won't really notice it. And then we're gonna make our red gems. You can see 1 action, it's even in 2 actions, it even said 3 left. This would be much better with a red Royal Rumble. But you know, I'm just using live strap, so it is what it is. Hopefully we hit some reds here. We do. I think we did like 100 million. Not super exciting, but you notice the buff is still there. I'm just gonna 2 move this again, right? For the simple reason of, excuse me, for the simple reason of I want to keep as many actions as possible. If for some reason the green doesn't refill, then we'll hit this and up our MP, right? And save it for the next turn. If not, we're just going to chuck the gems again if the green does refill and get a little extra damage that way. So you're really trying to manage your, whatever this thing is called. You can see our buff is stacking. Right. Nice cascading. So that's like 210 million. 221 million on that time. Now, we don't want to click the buff again because it only lasts 1 turn. So let's just get another set of gems, right? Nice cascading. And 129 million on that one. So now Titan's turn. He does his thing. Okay. Puts blast gems on the board. Now it's my turn. Buffs are gone, right? So you are losing a turn on your buffs. You can see we took some damage, but no danger of getting KO'd. So let's just go through our cycle here again, as efficiently as possible. And get some more damage in, right? Pretty straightforward, right, guys? You're just trying to maximize your actions per damage. So it's looking at a different way of playing. And also, like, potentially if you're lower level, your characters aren't as high, you might be looking at doing some healing in between each turn to survive, like if you don't have high level health golds and stuff. So yeah. Maybe I'll also do a video on the free-to-play and how he's approaching the Titan takeover. So you could argue, potentially, right? Instead of hitting the buff again, we honestly could just keep hitting the diving headbutt. But there's no, you know, and I don't know which would end up being more damage, right? I feel like Potentially this could be because more reds, but if I had a red row rumble, I think it's pretty much a wash. I don't know. I haven't actually mathed that. So you could potentially, you know, after you hit your buff, just hit this. Or you can keep hitting the buff, right? I don't know. I'm gonna keep hitting the buff until the last one because I just like the synergy with that. 2 buffs and 3 attacks works for me. But that's sort of like what you're gonna have to look at is what can potentially get you the most damage for your actions, right? So it's definitely a different way of looking at the game. And I really appreciate the mode and it being something different quite a bit, actually. Quite a bit. So I think this will be really fun. Potentially, right? And then we have 1 move left, so let's chuck our gems again. I think we should still survive this turn as well. Oh yeah, get those cascades. Ooh, there we go. Very nice. We should, I think, still survive this turn, question mark? I can't remember. Yes. Alright, so we're dead after this turn. Or KO'd, rather. Unalived. So really, guys, you're just picking your highest damage people for the situation, right? Not super complicated necessarily. For sure. I don't think it's super complicated. Maybe sometimes the turn order and stuff. But if this is something like, let me know in the comments if this is something you guys want me to record and show my attacks every day, who I'm using. If you're gonna find that beneficial, how I'm going about the fights, I am more than happy to share that information because like including like the step, but you can see exactly the straps I'm using. I don't care, cause like, yeah, even the faction rewards are so close. I don't care if I get first or 100th. It's very little difference there to me. So I just think this mode in particular is set up pretty well to share information and hopefully factions don't infight over ranking because it means so little, but it is incentive a little bit, I guess. So I kind of hate that it's just faction. Like I said, I was hoping this would be solo only, and not faction based. But that being said, I like that there's not like a huge leaderboard portion to it. So, but if you guys want to see me do my daily runs, it obviously takes a little bit longer. But like I could show you guys like kind of who I plan on using every day and just show it in action. If that's a video you guys want to see, I'm happy to make it. It's just extra content for me and I'm already doing it anyway, you know? And he is charged because we loaded him with our character, right? So now Haku comes in and he gets his 3 turns, right? So him being charged is helpful. Or not. So apparently it sets the snowfalls off on the first turn. So to get the gem buff, we have to do this in a reverse order. So I noticed this with Sammy on the jugs. Jugs and countdown gems go off a turn when you use a move. I'm not sure if that's intended or not. So this is going to be on the fly. We're going to get the buff here, right? And then we're going to do this. You can see, let's slow it down to 1 speed so you can see. What's happening is the countdowns are going out. And then on the combo move, they're going off. Portion of it, apparently. Anyway, so it's just you have to manage it slightly different. So this isn't, if this is how they intended to work, that's cool. I can play around that. I did on Sammy Dudenator. I just kept chucking jugs and not hitting the finisher, right? So if the gem buff was on this, this would be great. You just hit this move over and over, but it's not. So we're gonna mix in the finisher, and like I said, I can work around this no problem. Not a big deal. Let's get that second buff out, and then let's just hit this. So just a different the way the mechanics are working in the mode. But we don't get credit for that last one, as you saw. So that sucked, because it was his turn. So we can't do it on the last one. So that probably cost me a damage attack. But we learned something, right? We learned something. And now I'm kind of screwed. Yeah, I'm definitely screwed because I don't have any blues. So that definitely cost us. It's fine. Everything's fine. We'll get one buff. So Haku's damage is going to be pretty poopy on this one. But I did learn something, and that's good. And hopefully you guys learned something too. And we can't get that. We're not going to get this any damage from this again, so that sucks. Whatever. All right, that could have been way better. Way, way better. Haku is a bad choice. So yeah, but we're learning. That's the important thing. Oh, there it went off that time. On my turn. Bizarre. All right, so it's just the way it's ordered. Not a big deal. Can figure out. Okay. We're just going to hit this now after the buff every time. Because we're getting like 220 mil. Yeah, 260. Let's just pop this again. Man, if I had done this right the first time, his damage would be set up well. Because you get one buff, and yeah. One buff in 3 hits. That's like 600 million a cycle. Plus, because we're getting extra here. Yeah, that's 400 mil. Yeah, he's gonna be good for this. And then I don't think these won't go off because we're gonna die. So we'll just hit it anyway, just in case. Interesting how the mechanic works, though, right? I think it's interesting. Let's see how much damage we did with these two guys. 3 billion. Right, so not nearly as good as my Ilya Dudenator, who I got 5 billion out of, right? So it's going to be very hard to take this boss down. It's going to take multiple attacks. Like, you'll probably have to commit 2 or 3 attacks from all 100 people in your faction, right? So there's that. And now that my energy's down to 0, like I said, first week, they are in the store giving us an energy claim. If you claimed it early, you might have ran into a bug with it. I'm going to claim it now. I don't know what they're going to do about the energy thing. They'll probably do something. So there's that. Let's go back in here. Yeah, so there's my 2 energy. So I can do 2 more attacks, right? I've done a 4. I've done a 3. I'm going to do a 2. And I'll save. I'll check with my faction first and see if they want me to do a 2 and a 1, or do all my attacks on 4. I don't care if I don't get the chest, if they think we have a chance to unlock this. So, but this is long enough. It's like 44 minutes. But I think this explains it well. If you guys want to see me, like I said, daily, who I'm going to use, like today's, if you want to see who I'm going to use for Savage, like Acro, what I'm going to set up, that kind of stuff, let me know. I'd make this into a daily series. And I'm happy to do so if people are going to watch it. So hopefully you guys find this helpful. I think that's pretty much everything I know about Titan Takeover. Your unlocks carry over next week when they roll around, and the store looks okay. And more chance to get hype is always welcome. So let me know what you think in the comments, and remember, like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching, guys, and good luck out there. I really do like the new game mode a lot. Hopefully we get a solo player version of this too at some point, because I like it a lot.